All right, let's take a look here, make sure I'm live. All right, let's see what it looks like. All right, I'm still getting the hang of this here, guys, to go live on Zoom versus on Facebook. So we're going to get it all figured out. Let me just turn this off and turn this on. And we'll go from there. How is everyone doing this morning? I'm excited. I'm Hope Savara here with Chrome and Steel Radio, coming to you live from Wisconsin. It's getting cold, but I'm still holding out strong. I'm not going to pull out that winter coat yet because I don't want to. How are you doing today? Drop it in the comment section where you're coming from. I'm going to try to keep track here on Facebook. So one thing about Zoom is I can't see your comments unless I look at my Facebook feed. So we're just going to roll with it. How are you this morning? Good morning. I hope you're doing well. If you are on the road, where are you going? Where are you coming from? Where have you been? I love knowing that. I just talked to a trucker this morning, Jacinda. She might come on live this morning. And we were talking about where she was going. She's actually in Illinois, which is right not too far from me, actually, about probably 3 hours or so. But still too far to come say hi, and I'm still too far to go say hi to her. So, all right, we are talking about a little yoga this morning. I was like, what am I going to talk to you about? What am I going to share? What am I going to bring to the show this morning? And I thought, why not a little yoga 101? I think for a lot of people, they still think yoga is like namaste and sitting and meditating or poses that are really hard. If you follow me on Facebook, if you're a part of our Mother Trucker Yoga community, you know that yoga is a lot more than that. It is not just stretching your body and feeling stiff and trying to become more flexible or sitting and meditating. I think there's a lot of stigmas that come with yoga. And on the flip side, yoga has become a lot of different things nowadays. Some of the things I'm not quite fond of, but yoga has changed my life for the better. And I'm a big believer that a little yoga for your everyday life never hurt anybody. So I want to talk about Yoga 101. How is it? What is it that I can bring to my life? How is it that yoga can help me? This is one of the questions I get a lot from people is how can I incorporate yoga into my everyday life? How can I bring it into where I'm at right now, and what is it going to do for me? And I think one of the cool things that yoga has to offer people is that, let's just talk about the physical practice. So if you know nothing about yoga at all, okay, you're going to get an education today. All right. So yoga has what's called 8 limbs. So 8 limbs, that would be 9, 8 limbs. And each limb, think of it like a branch on a tree. Okay. And each of those branches have a different aspect of the all over practice. So yoga is often considered a life practice. It is not just asana. Asana is a fancy Sanskrit word for poses. Poses is one of those 8 limbs. And surprisingly, it is not the first limb. The first limbs actually focus more on your internal relationship with yourself and how you treat yourself, and your external relationship, observations, engagements, relationships with the rest of the world. And then we start to focus a little bit more on the physical body with pranayama, another fancy word for breathing, asana or poses, dharana, dhyana, which is focus, concentration. And then we look at meditation, and we look at what's called samadhi, which is complete self-realization, or that connection with the divine, or that kind of complete inner stillness or inner calmness. You can call it whatever you want. I don't care. And when we think about, I'm just going to pull up Facebook here to make sure if I'm not seeing any comments or missing any comments that I can see all you guys. When we think about yoga and we think about bringing yoga into our everyday life, I think for a lot of people, they get scared. They get scared on how am I going to make this work? I'm too overweight. I don't have enough time. I'm just too busy, or whatever it is. Or I do CrossFit. I don't do yoga. And I've taught thousands of people, y'all, thousands of people over the last almost 20 years. And I find that my big guys, my big muscle builders, it's almost like they're afraid. So what if you can't touch your toes? So what if you're not the most flexible person in the room? Who cares? Who cares? The idea of yoga is that we are better because of it. And this is one thing that I have taken to heart in my life. The things that I engage in, I want to be better because of them. The people that I have in my life, I want them to challenge me to be better. I don't know about you, but when you're around people that are negative and down and self-loathing and have an excuse for everything, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. It's like pulling the plug of your lamp out of the wall and like asking the light to turn back on. It's really hard. So we're talking about Yoga 101. So what other than asana? Now you're a yogi. You understand all these words now. Asana or poses. What aside from that does yoga have to offer me? What can I learn from a yoga practice or a yogic-like lifestyle that can help me in my everyday life? Well, one of the big things is no self-harm. And this is one of the reasons why I was so drawn to yoga, was because that was my whole life, was punishing myself, harming myself. I had an eating disorder, drugs and alcohol. I did a lot of really bad stuff. And so yoga kind of came into my life and was like, hey, like, you don't have to do that. Like, it's okay to feel, it's okay to be mad, to be angry, to deal with this stuff in a different way. And that's exactly what yoga did. I felt super weak. I felt like I was really tight and inflexible, but yet at the same time, I felt really strong, really empowered, really focused, really clear. And I had never really experienced that combination of things all at the same time. Hey, Bill, good morning. Hey, good morning, Shannon. Shannon, so totally time out. So I'm like on Facebook this morning, like just getting ready for this. And I like scroll past Robert Greene's post, and it was a dog talking about how Karen, something about Karen, and I just immediately thought of you. So I just thought that was really funny. All right, Jacinda raised her hand. Let's see. So Jacinda, let's see if she's in here. Jacinda, you want to, let's see if we can, come on. How can I get her in here? Come on. Let's see. Unmute more. We're going to figure out how we can get Jacinda, allow Panos to mute himself. You guys, this is like allow Panos to start video. There we go. Let's see. Now let's see if her video will start. I'm learning, okay? I'm learning. Not gallery view. Let's see if she can get her video on. Allow panelists to start video. So you guys, this is like, okay, allow panelists to start video. Okay, so I allowed you to start your video, Jacinda. Let's see if you can come in and get allowed to talk. There, yay, I did it. Oh my gosh, okay.
Can you hear me now?
I can, oh my gosh. So those of you that are tuned in live, sometimes I'm a little special. And although I'm very tech savvy, oh Lordy, sometimes I have a moment where I'm just like, this should not be this complicated, but we figured it out. So those of you that have not met Jacinda before, she is a lady boss trucker. She's badass. She is tooling all over the United States, hauling some pretty amazing high-end cars that are wowzers. So if you want to shop for a car, a fancy car, watch her Facebook page, man, because you are going to see everything and anything under the face of the sun. So awesome. So since right now, we're going to take our yoga philosophy pause, and we're going to talk to Jacinda for a little bit. So, hey girl, how is everything going?
Good morning. How are you? Thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. Where are you right now?
I am headed to St. Louis, Missouri. I didn't realize how close I was to you in Mequon.
I know. So
what?
Jacinda reached out to me like Sunday, and I didn't see the post till later. And she was in Mequon, which is like 30 minutes from my house. And I was like, what?
I stayed in Steins for a day and a half in the parking lot.
Oh my gosh, girl. Well, Next time, anytime south of Fond du Lac, reach out to me because that's pretty much an easy drive wherever you are. So
It's sometimes it's sad because I don't always know exactly where I am, if that makes sense. Like I'm there, you know what I'm talking about, but
yes.
I'm not sure exactly, in where I am. But it was really nice there. I took the puppy out. There's a nice pet store right next to Stein's. Spent a lot of
Aw.
time over there and just doing it. So headed down to Missouri today.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. So yeah, so Jacinda's driving right now. So you're going to hear her versus see her because she's on the road. But hey, I wanted to take a couple of minutes and talk to you because I have a couple questions.
Okay.
And I was wondering if you'd answer them. So one, you have a puppy and you just got a puppy. And I want to ask you because driving on the road, because before this, you were just driving solo. It was just you. And how has having a dog affected your everyday life, just kind of mental, physical, everything?
It's definitely improved my life. And I'll be honest, I haven't really bonded to animals in the past, but this doggy, her name is Miles. I've definitely taken to, and it's getting me out of the truck at least every 2 hours now. I stop, I run with her, I walk with her, train with her. So it's definitely improved my mental also. I sleep better at night because I'm actually burning energy in the daytime, which before, was a little rough, but getting out of the truck a lot more, engaging, and it definitely brings a sense of happiness. It's a high playing with the dog, especially when it reciprocates the love. Yes.
I love it. I love it.
Yes. I look at it as my child. I said, if I can raise kids, I can raise a dog. And
yeah, totally. So for you drivers that are out there listening and are like, ooh, should I get a dog? Should I not get a dog? Like, what would you say to them?
What I want to say is wait a little bit because we have a program coming out, okay, that's going to allow us to adopt dogs at the truck stops.
What?
Yes. So how I got Miles is there's a program coming out called Mutts for Trucks. And what it is, it's sponsored by Mobile Delvac and Pedigree, and they're networking with the local National Humane Societies where our Petro truck stops are, and we'll be bringing the adoption to the truck stop, making it, an easy process where, drivers only have to bring their driver's license and can select a dog there on site and leave with it. So the availability is coming because not all of us can always get to, a place where we can get a dog or a cat but Mutts for Trucks. And that's how I got Miles. Okay.
Aww.
And really neat program. It's coming out probably in the new year. And what Miles and I did is actually participate in the film production for the advertisement of the program that's coming.
That's fantastic.
So it was really a neat process, with all those crazy film crew in my truck and with the dog and all that good stuff. But it's a really neat program. Really neat program.
You know what's really cool is, I don't know how many people, aside from truck drivers that want a dog, have really put much thought into the fact of, how do you even figure out a time and a place and to get there? And most humane societies, at least in my area, they close at like 5 o'clock. So how do you even get set up to do something like that? So this is fantastic, tailored to the truck driver. How will they find out about this?
Mutts for Trucks. You can go to Mutts for Trucks, Google it. There's their .com, their Facebook page, and get the information. So it's to come. We were the first, it was a public adoption, but also emphasized more on the production to advertise it in the future.
That's fantastic. Well, Dave, if you're on, we should definitely find more information about that so we can let viewers know and let me know so then I can definitely spread the word when it comes time. So
it's amazing because the animal comes completely ready to go. I was fortunate, Miles, I bought a kennel and all that stuff just in case, but my goal with the dog was to have it as, my complete companion. So she gets out with me everywhere I go. She sits in the driver's seat and she waits for me. We have little tear up moments, but for the most part, like I had told them, I knew I needed a medium to large size dog because I'm kind of a rough chick, in and out, playing, wrestling, all that stuff. I knew. And it just takes time. And even sitting here with the dog, we practice shake and sit. And so you can still do all of those things, with the puppy. Believe me, my
Love
dog,
it.
luckily I have a big bunk, which allows her to move around a lot more, but she has a king size bed full of toys, and this little girl lays right next to me the whole time. The whole time.
Aw, I love
Mhm.
it. I love it.
Mhm.
How has this made a difference on your like mental? You're a pretty positive and upbeat person, but
Mhm.
I just a real behind the scenes honesty. How has it impacted your mental state on the road?
I can show love. It's definitely, yes, I'm a happy person, but giving my energy and my affection to the animal and reciprocating, and she just gives it back. And it's nice not being alone. It's okay when you're by yourself, but until you're not, you don't realize how great it is when you do have a pet there. And she
That's
doesn't
awesome.
talk back. It's perfect. Oh, I tried the team driving thing, and the dog works a lot better for me.
Those of you that are team drivers that are tuning in, drop it in the comment section if you wish sometimes your team driver was a pet.
Kudos to those people, because that's hard, but I respect that. But the dog is definitely uplifting, and like I say, what you put into it is what you're going to get back. I taught her to sit, to shake, to lay down. She fetches. So just getting out and, because we all drink coffee or energy, all those bad, unhealthy things we do to stimulate on road. I'm guilty. I'll be the first one to admit.
Oh,
So
sure.
getting out of the truck at especially Midwest, East Coast, these rest areas have so much grass and play areas that I do get out. And my company might wonder a little bit why, I take more time, but I take 15 to 25 minutes and just walk with her. Throw the stick, let her burn her energy like a little kid. You have to burn their energy in order for them to relax.
I totally agree. Robert Green
Mhm.
says Hope would want to play fetch going down the road. Now he's not talking about me, y'all.
I know.
Robert, for those of you that are not listening, he's not talking about me. But Robert
What?
lost his dog. I know that would be like so inappropriate. But that's just it. That's just it. And for you obviously know, my background is, wellness and fitness and health. For those of you that are really concerned about getting out and getting mobile on the road, what a great thing than something that makes you get out and get mobile. And unless you want your truck torn up, I mean, let's be honest, unless you want your truck peed on and torn up, you got to take the dog out. You got to walk the dog, and you also benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. It raises your alertness, because we get in a funk, after you drive for so long. You're driving and watching, but you need to get out and re-alert yourself. It's important. And just a lot of investment. We all have energy, and we all want to be validated. It's a great way to channel your energy.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
I really love her.
What is her name again?
Miles.
Miles.
Putting in the miles.
I love it.
I always play on words, so that was perfect.
That was very appropriate. If you drive with a dog, drop it in the comment section. What's your dog's name? What's their breed? What size? How long you've been riding with a dog for? I want to know, because I just think this is such a great thing. And we all know that those that have dogs or pets actually live longer. So I'm not saying that everyone on the road should have a dog, and by all means, having 5 or 6 or 7 dogs, like, please don't do that. That's crazy.
And cats, and potbelly pigs, and you name it.
Gerbils, like, I don't know. I mean, okay, so those of you that are listening, what's the weirdest thing you've seen a fellow driver have as a pet in their truck? I don't know. What have you seen, Jacinda? Like anything that's
I think the cats in the dashboard is always like, wow, what the heck? Okay. But most of us are animal lovers. And like I said, you can train them. They don't have to be destructive. You know what I mean? And I'm a socialite, I like to take my dog everywhere. Even when I go in to pay for fuel, I take her in. It's just those moments. And I've actually trained her to come to me at the door. I don't let her jump out yet, so never drag her. And then getting back in, she knows when we come, it's just the same routine over and over that they'll learn. The only time I leave her in the truck is when I'm actually moving the cars, because I don't trust her to be out of the way yet. How horrible that be? Run your own dog over in your trailer. Okay, not a good idea.
She goes somewhere else, and then you're like half in the middle of loading a really expensive car because you travel and haul some really really nice cars.
Did you see the one yesterday? Okay, so I got to this is kind of uncommon, it's here and there when we pick up at an international cargo freight company. So that Bentley came in from the UK. on an Airbus, okay? And they got the car for me and no one knew, so it wasn't relayed. They brought the car out and I looked at it, I said, it's a wrong side driver. Okay. I said, do you want to drive it out? The guy said, no. Okay, so that's a big challenge when, I'm not even prepared for it, but it gets me out of my comfort zone. And, I appreciate that. But driving on the opposite side is very odd. It's not, it's not something I've done too much. And a Bentley at that, a big old Bentley.
And somebody else's vehicle. It's not like it's a rental car or it's like, that's what I got insurance for. Yeah, that, oh my gosh. How did you do? No scrapes? All good?
No. Oh, absolutely not. No, you just have to remember to change your buttons to the other side of your trailer because I always load on our side. The right side, get it? The correct side. Oh, okay. So that was the debate. Here's a question for you. So I've asked people, how do we in America, because we drive on this left side, how do people refer to the opposite side driver? Is it the left side looking at the car, or is it the right side because it's to our right in the car? That's a good question because I've wanted to, how I refer to it, people have corrected me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, so totally.
We drive on the left side, so is that a right side driver? Because looking at the car, it's a left side driver.
Drop it in the comment section. Who knows the answer to this?
Like, interesting,
this is like a pickle. Like, who actually knows the answer to this? Are you a right side driver or a left side driver?
Or left side driver. Yeah, and the controls are all on the left, so I've had one other one like that. I had an 80 Land Rover, and I had to shift with my left hand. I had never done that before. So I appreciate those things. And that's something about car hauling. It's always something different. Your skills have to be sharp. I remember when I used to get excited to get out. Now when I get back in the driving, that's my come down because it's just so intense when I'm doing these cars. The intensity level is out of this world.
I love it. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got another question for you. So what do you do during the day to practice self-care? So obviously you have a dog now, you're walking, you're getting outside more. Like what else do you do on the road to take care of yourself?
Something that's really important to me is I drink a lot of water. Okay, that's something that's a high important. You can, however you do it. My goal is a gallon a day. So, you have the 6, and a lot of people don't know this either. If you have the 6 regular size water bottles, that equals 1 gallon. So I take 6 out every day, and I encourage people just chug it. People will sip water and then sit it down. And as I get older and I get maturing skin, I realize how important water is to my health. So water is a big thing. And eating, I eat a lot of the same stuff all the time. Turkey patties, veggie, everything. And I'll be honest, this is kind of vain, but it's truth. When I came out over the road, that was a concern to me, is my health and my weight.
Yeah.
And everybody's different, so I'm not pushing what I do on other people, but just watching what you eat. I try to look at it as fueling my body. Number 1, I don't want to eat anything that's going to make me tired. And number 2, just fueling with what I need. And I give my dog a snack of little food every time I eat. So then we're eating almost on the same schedule.
Love it. That's so smart.
Mm-hmm. So I try. And I make time for myself. I do my face, I do my hair, I go get my nails done, just as normal as possible as I did when I was home. And, everybody does different things. I have a lot of freedom and I understand that, but we can make time to do little things or even on a budget. There's little things you can do to make yourself, feel good or normal. Believe me, when I first came out on the road, I felt like a weirdo when I was out on the road for a few weeks and I'd go into Walmart. I felt weird and I'm a social person. You know what I mean? I was kind of like, oh, I forgot what this is like. So it's really important to engage with people too. Don't get stuck in your bubble.
Yeah, that's so important. That's so important is to purposely make it a point, let it be in your conscious mind that you have to interact with somebody today. You have to say hello. Even if they don't say hello back, at least you said hello. Hold the door open for them, strike up a conversation. When we were at, Shannon Courier and I were at some various TAs back in September for Trucker Appreciation Week, one of the things I really noticed was at first truck drivers didn't want to always talk to us. And then we're like, hey, how long have you been driving? Half an hour later. So it's like, you have to try to socialize, otherwise you'll find yourself never socializing. And I find that now that I've closed my yoga studio and I do work from home a lot more, it's my home office I'm in, that it's really easy to stop talking to people.
Yes,
And we are
it is.
social beings. We are humans. We are meant to be social.
And I think that's how I bombard people, because I'm by myself a lot. So when I interview or meet people, it's like all in their face. And I swear when I leave, they're probably like, what was that? Wait, what just happened? Wait, why am I doing this? That's what I say, voluntold. Thank you for the interview. What the heck just happened to me? Thank you. Have a good day.
Oh my gosh,
but it is
I love
important because it's easy to get stuck. Like I said, I like to be around people, and well, especially because for example, with what I have everything in here to fully function except a washer and dryer. And again, I have to make myself, get out, and that's where the dog helps me a lot. And same with her. When I get around people or other dogs, I'll ask them, how, can we engage? My dog needs to know how to engage with other dogs and other people. You leave her in the truck all the time, she's never going to have the manners, number one, or the social skills.
Yeah,
can I pet
so
your
true.
dog? I make her sit down. Okay, now she can say hello, not quite like me, like, all in your face. Hold on, take it easy.
You're trying
the
to
dog
teach
is
Miles
awesome.
you're trying to teach Miles to do a little bit different than you. Like
Yeah,
a little bit more low key.
Can you ease into it?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love it.
But the dog is good. The dog is really good. And I'd like to know also from other people, like I said, what I do is a little bit different. I'd like to know in feedback from people how it is when they do warehouse stuff. What are the rules? Because the different rules apply, which people might not know. Sitting at a door waiting, there's a lot of places that don't allow you to get the dog out or to, you know what I mean? So that's something else to consider for people who might want a dog. Where can you actually get out with the dog in with what you're doing? It's important.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. Oh my gosh, this is so great. Okay, so it was mutts for trucks. So we will look into that.
Mutts, and then number 4, like 4 paws. You know how they have 4 pads? Mutts for trucks.
Okay, cool.
And,
we're going to look into that. And
okay.
they're partnering with Petro, right? They're going to be at the Petros
Correct.
for that. Okay, cool. So Dave, if you're listening, Maddie, if you're listening, let's find out information about that so we can definitely let everybody know about what's going on with that. And Jacinda, I would love to have you back on the show again.
Love you.
And talk
Thank you.
a little bit about once this starts at the Petros, I would love to know and try to meet up with you at one of them when this event is going on, when these are going on. I would love to do that. So
and they give you a lot of stuff to get you going, food and accessories and leash and all kinds. So you're on your way with everything, the basic necessities. So that's good to know too. You don't have to go buy anything up front.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, girl, for coming on the show today. I so appreciate it. Lots of love. Drive safe.
Love you too.
And we will talk soon. Bye now.
Okay, bye, Hope. Bye, everybody.
All right, that was Jacinda. She is the lady trucker. She is one of our dear friends. We love her. She does some pretty awesome stuff. We're going to see if we can remove her. There we go. Okay. All right. Perfect. There we go. All right, guys, I'm back now. Okay, so we were trying to organize her to be a guest on the show, and she was able to pop on this morning. So we had to interrupt our normal programming to talk a little bit about Mutts for Trucks and what Jacinda's doing, and drop some love in the comment section if you just love Jacinda. I just love her energy. When we were at GATS, she comes running and like attacks us, which I absolutely love. And then we shared an Uber together, and that was an intimate experience between myself, my husband, and then Heather and Lindsay that come with me. And that was quite the moment we had in the Uber. She's pretty amazing. But we're talking about yoga. We're talking about yoga for your everyday life. If you're still on with me, welcome. Thanks for being patient while we had our amazing guest on. We're talking about yoga and how to incorporate yoga into your everyday life. This idea of kind of yoga 101, beyond the poses, beyond the asanas, beyond what we may think in the mainstream media yoga is. And maybe drop it in the comment section. What has been your experience with yoga so far in your life? Any experience at all, good, bad, indifferent, whatever it is. But how is it that we can essentially become a better person? And this is one of the things that really gets me jazzed up about yoga and about the philosophy of yoga and the deep insights about yoga, because I'm kind of a deep person in that way. And I just love this type of conversation and this type of study. How can we, how can we be a better human to ourselves, to the people around us? Because I got to be honest, having been on the other side, and I know many of you listening have been at rock bottom, have been in a very dark place. Maybe you're still kind of in a dark place. It sucks. Like, it sucks. It royally sucks. Like, I don't want to get in trouble for swearing on Facebook, but it is the pits. And it doesn't always feel like that when you're newly in it. And once you recognize that you're there and you don't want to be there, and that it's like this vicious cycle of like, how do I get out of it? Self-loathing, just self-destructive, poor me, woe is me, life sucks, everything is unfair. And I'm saying this because these are all the things that I have said to myself in my past. And sometimes when I'm having a bad day, even currently, and then we kind of have this up and down roller coaster. You don't have to be a truck driver to feel like that, man. It's life, it's people. But what yoga can offer us, this idea of yoga 101, the 8 limbs of yoga, beyond asana, beyond the poses, yoga offers us this opportunity to say, here's what you can do. Let's help you start to gain control over the things that you can control. And this was a aha moment for me, because I can't control everybody else. I can't control if people like me or don't like me. I can't control what people say about me. I can't control the weather. I can't control my husband. I can't control my kids to a point. But I can do something about me. And for those of you that know me, probably have figured out at some way, shape, or form that I have a very little tolerance, like zero, like maybe like microscopic, for excuses. I can't stand them. They drive me bonkers. I have to like step back and practice my yoga breathing when I hear excuses coming out of somebody else's mouth. And the reason being is because excuses only keep you stuck. Excuses are really bad reasons why you don't want to change. That life is too hard, that you don't know what it's like mentality. And I lived that way so long, like almost 10 years, probably more than 10 years actually, just trying to do the math here, that I got so disgusted with myself, so disgusted. Like, I mean, just like, it was like a war inside of my head every single day, because I couldn't stand that I was that way. And then yoga came into my life. So we're talking about yoga philosophy. We're talking about yoga 101. We're talking about yoga beyond the poses. This is not about stretching. This is not about any of that, although those actions and those types of strategies help you further your mental, physical, emotional well-being. That's why it's one of the 8 limbs, but we're not necessarily talking about that today. Robert, I had hoped for a year and a half, and it was the best year and a half. Oh, you're still talking about your dog. I love it. I love it. It's just compassion and caring about others. You got it. You got it. But it's not just about caring about others. It is also about caring about yourself. So earlier in the show, before Jacinda came on, I was talking about the 8 limbs of yoga, and the first 2 limbs of yoga are yama and niyama, which is observations and engagements with the self, and observations and engagements with the world around you. So it's not just about everybody else. It is about how you care about yourself. It is about the integrity within the self, because how we take care of ourselves is usually a representation of what's going on around us. So what is it that I can do to bring a little bit more yoga into my life? And so I have a couple of things that we're going to go over. So number 1, choose experiences over things. How can I live yoga? How can I live my yoga a little bit more? How can I bring this into my life? Choose experiences over things. And what does that mean? It means, when is the last time that you had a memory made? When is the last time that you went out of your way to see life? And you have all, many of you, if you listen to me, you know I am a total sunset sunrise snob. I absolutely have to stop pretty much every time I see a sunrise and sunset, take a picture, have a moment, offer a moment of gratitude, because I want that experience. I want to feel that experience, and I want my kids to feel that experience, and I want my husband to feel that experience, and I want others to be like, oh my gosh, look at that sun, it's so amazing. But experiences over things. What kinds of experiences can you step into right now versus things? And sometimes when we're not happy with ourselves, we buy stuff. We buy a lot of stuff to mask the lack of experiencing life. And I think it's really hard as a driver, and comment in the comment sections, is you're driving all day. You're alone. It's just you and maybe your pup or your teen driver, but it's kind of hard to have experiences when you're driving all the time. So you have to make an extra effort to actually go out of your way to engage, to make that memory, to have that moment. Ask a fellow driver to go for a walk around the parking lot. Talk to the checkout counter clerk about how their day was going. Go outside and watch the sunset. Do something. Engage on some level. And I'm finding that to be true in my own life, especially now, because I can go all day without talking to anybody. I can go all day without engaging with a human at all. And I really find that I need those experiences to feel fulfilled, to feel like a part of me is complete. So the goal is to enjoy being alive in every moment, instead of trying to only gain material items and like a new car, money, stuff. So at the end of the day, all of those things aren't going to make you feel like you lived your life a more fulfilled way. So how is it that we can start choosing experiences over things? What does that look like for you? Number 2, know your science. So if we're talking about yoga, part of what we talk about in yoga is the idea that everything is an exchange of energy. This isn't hocus pocus. This is science. This is energy. This is, everything has a frequency. Everything has a vibration. A rock, my cat, this pen, my phone, myself, everything. And when we start to look at the world that way, what ends up happening is we start to make different choices about what we choose to engage with, what we choose to surround ourselves with. And I've talked about this before, where have you ever been around somebody where it's just, they feel like they're an energy vampire? They suck the life out of you. They suck the life out of you. Or you sit down and you watch a television show, or you do something and you feel like, oh my gosh, that just like wasted, a part of my life I can never get back. It's an energy suck. Whatever it is, stop engaging in those things. Say, I'm going to love you from a distance, and start to choose to surround yourself with things of a higher vibration, people of a higher vibration, the Jacindas of the world, that just wrap you in love and are positive and upbeat. And I'll tell you what, I have blocked some people on Facebook because I really can't hear for another day about how shitty your life is. And I'm really sorry that your life is shitty, but until you start reaching out in a positive way, instead of complaining all the way to the train station about how everything is wrong, like, I don't have time and space in my mind to take that in. Okay, I just don't. Because I know my past, I know that slippery slope, I know what that does to me. I'm here to listen to you, I'm here to support you, but I need to know that you're open to solutions on how to change that. Because we all know the difference. We all know somebody in our life where they're not complaining, they're not speaking about what's going on because they want to hear a solution. They're not whining about how crappy their life is because they want help. They're doing those things because they want to do those things, because that's how they get attention. That's how they feed that energy surge. That's how they fulfill themselves. That's how they feel of value. And I'm speaking to that because that used to be me. Okay. That used to be me. And I'm super tuned in when I find myself engaging with someone like that. And I'm going to love you from a distance, but I can't be a part of that. My state of keeping myself in a place where I don't engage in addictive behaviors and I can make good choices and I practice self-care and self-respect and I see myself of value, I can't sabotage that. That is like liquid gold to me. And I will not sacrifice that for anything else, because then how can I help anybody else? How can I be an asset to anybody else in my life if I'm just letting those people of the world suck me dry? And I want you to think about that for a moment, because everything is an exchange of energy. Everything is. We're giving and receiving constantly. And if you're one of those people that are giving, and getting nothing back, you might need to shift yourself a little bit. Or if you're one of those people that are taking, ask yourself why. But I think there might need to be a shift in place. How can we make that shift? How can I give back? There's one of the biggest reasons why gratitude, while giving, why selfless service, why volunteering, tithing, whatever it is that you want to call it, is so critical to the well-being of our livelihood, of ourselves, of our families, of our mental state, of how it is that we flourish in this world. And I think truck drivers do that really well. When we were out at the TAs, Shannon Courier and I, for Trucker Appreciation Week, I could not believe how many truck drivers were like trying to literally shove money in Shannon's face, like, take my donation. And she's like, I'm not here for donations. I'm not here to take your money. But like, they just wanted to give. And I want to let you know, if you're listening right now, I want to give to you. I want to give to you. I want to help you. I hear you. I see you. I understand to as much capacity as I can understand. And if I'm still not understanding, please help me learn. Because I am not claiming to know everything about trucking, about truck drivers, but I do know what it's like to struggle. I do know what it's like to be at rock bottom. I do know what it's like to feel like there's no hope for you. I do know what it's like to help others. I do know what it's like to overcome obstacles. I do know what it's like to be a human on this earth. And everything, my friend, is an exchange of energy. Everything. Who, what, and how you are choosing to exchange that is something that you can control. And I got to be honest with you. In the last 6 months, really just the last 6 months, I've been working on this for a long time, but in the last 6 months, I have been super, super strategic in who I choose to engage with. And this has dramatically changed my life on a business level, on a personal level, on an internal level. I want to challenge you to do the same. Now, it might be a work in progress. This has not happened overnight. You guys, I've been working on these types of things for like 20 years, okay? But we're like scratching the surface. We're just like talking on the surface and getting a little deep in some things today. If you're just tuning in, we're talking about yoga for your everyday life. And we're talking about choosing experiences over things. Now we're talking about everything being an exchange of energy and what it is and who it is that we choose to engage with. I'm going to go to the comments and see if there's anything dropping here. Shannon says, me too. I don't want to miss a single moment. Hey, good morning, Travis. Craig, no need for anchors in our lives. They just drag us down. We love you, Hope. Aw, thanks, Travis. But Craig, that's just it. That's just it. And here's the other piece of this exchange of energy with people is you have to let them go with love. Because if you're like, you're a bad person, I don't like you, you're shitty, you're just as bad as they are. If you are like, you're bad, I don't want to be around you, and you're just as negative and mean and energy sucking as they are, you've dropped to their level. I want you to rise up, to challenge them to come up and meet you. We can also do this with the things that we choose to engage in. So I choose not to watch movies or TV shows that kind of drop me down, that is just like constant violence, constant stimulation. I try not to do that a whole lot. I try to listen to audiobooks. I love Audible from Amazon, $14 a month, and I listen to audiobooks all the time. And I try to choose to only listen to audiobooks that are positive and motivating and challenge me to be better, offer me deep insights to life. Like that's just my jam, or things that are just of that nature. I read a daily devotional every morning. I try to keep my mind moving in that direction because I know chemically, I know internally, I'm wired for the opposite. I come from a long line of addicts, my friends. I come from a long line of family members that struggle with depression. I come from a long line of people that struggle with anxiety. I myself have struggled with all of those things. So I cannot afford to even bring myself down to that level. And the second I stop engaging in those practices, guess what? Hope's mind travels off to poor me town. And the next thing I know, I think I'm a piece of shit. Like, I'm just being real with you. Like, that's where my mind can go. And I know it. So I have to choose. I have to fight. I have to work really hard because I'm worth it. And I don't feel bad for saying that. And I don't want you to feel bad for saying that. You are worth it. If you wake up, God still has a purpose for you. I'm not trying to get all faithy and religious on you, but what I'm saying is the universe, faith, Gandhi, Buddha, I don't care who it is. Okay. I don't care what it is. The universe still has a purpose for you. That is one thing I told myself for more than 5 years to get myself into recovery. If I'm still here, there's purpose for me. And then when my husband and I lost our daughter, that is what I told myself every single day. There is still purpose for you, Hope. You cannot give up. That is totally copping out on the people that need you in this world. And so I don't care where you think you are in your life right now. People still need you. You have value to offer. Do not forget that. Do not ever for a second forget that. Okay. Number 3, release specific outcomes. Buddha said a long time ago, I'm going to read this to you. Buddha said a long time ago, and it still stands. It is not life itself that causes suffering, but rigid expectations not being realized that create great unnecessary pain. If you await the arrival of specific things in a specific time and you don't get them, and you get bummed out and trash your inner practice, your inner peace, your homeostasis, then you have missed the entire point. Let's develop a daily saying that says, may the best possible outcome happen for myself and all those involved. Because I don't know about you, but I have had my eye on some prizes. I have a goals journal. I write my goals journal every single day. If you listen to last week's episode, I talked about the last 90 days, that we are in the last 90 days right now before the first of the year. And this is about setting goals for yourself. Where do you want to be? When is the last time? I don't know if it's here. Oh, it is actually. I don't know if it's here. If you have yet, here's my goals journal. Okay, every single day I write in it. And I write the same goals down every single day. This is actually a new one I just started. So like literally every single day, I write down my goals. It takes me like 3 or 4 minutes. And I just write them every single day. So my brain believes them. So I start acting in that way. I start moving in that direction. And I make sure I try to do everything I can to stay in that mindset, in that drive, in that line. When is the last time you set goals for yourself? And when is the last time you let go of the parameters in which you think those goals should be achieved? Because guess what? I'm speaking from my experience and watching lots of people over my life so far, working with lots of people in my life. We get so attached to how we think something should go down. We get so attached to how long we think something should last, or the way it should turn out or how it should look or how we should achieve it, that sometimes we miss the point. But also, we might miss the many other blessings or the even better result that might come of that. So, releasing specific outcomes, let's take that one step further. And let's release also how we get there. Like, this has to happen this way. I have to get my master's degree. And then after I get my master's degree, I have to go get this job. And after I get this job, I'm going to own my own company. And then after I own my own company, then I'm going to have a family. Then I'm going to have children. Then I'm going to do all this thing. And sometimes we don't reach our goals in the way that we think we should get there. If you have a goal of one day owning your own truck, if you have a goal one day of taking your wife on the road with you, if you have a goal one day of retiring in 5 years, I don't know, I'm just throwing stuff out there. Have that goal, but then I also want to challenge you to release it in the way of how you have to get there. And maybe that outcome isn't going to be exactly as you thought it should be, but it's going to always be exactly the way it needs to be. And that is one thing that I have found to be true over and over and over again. So I closed my yoga studio back in July. And I had this idea, okay, totally candid, being totally honest, totally vulnerable, totally transparent. I had this idea that when I closed, a big part of my students would be waiting for where I would be teaching next. Because they made a big stink out of it. Like, a lot of them made a big stink about me closing and where I would go, and they were all freaked out. And then when I closed, and I'm still teaching some of my classes, like a quarter of them are showing up only now. It was like, poof, they were gone. Poof. Like, what the heck? And it was kind of a bruise to my ego, I'll be honest with you. I'm just being totally transparent. But here's the thing. I had been so attached to how I thought that process of closing my studio would go down. I was so attached to the outcome and the idea in my head that I had decided that that would look like. And I was disappointed. And I was sad. And I was upset. And I found myself getting angry and bitter. But here's the thing. I went back to my goals journal and I reminded myself that teaching a local yoga class and owning a yoga studio is not one of my goals. I love doing it and I will continue to do it. And I keep teaching because it helps me. And it's a gift back to the community that I want to do. And eventually I would like to do it more on a donation basis as I move into a different space and whatnot, but that's not this conversation. But my point is, knowing what my goals are helped me also to not attach to the outcome of certain situations, helped me remind myself that that's not what I want. How many of you out there have been distracted by other stuff, other people's achievements, things that kind of come into your path and you're like, ooh, a sucker, like a kid, like, ooh, I need candy. And it's like, no, we're not having candy today. And you get distracted and you think that that's what you want. And it reroutes you off of your path. It takes you out of your groove. It's like going to a dinner party when you're trying to eat clean and they have junk food like crazy. And you didn't stop to think, I should probably bring a dish to pass or eat before I come, so I'm not ready to eat my hand off and as a result eat all this crap food. It's no different than going out on the road. If you plan to avoid eating fast food, that will mean you have to either be one, more strategic at where you stop, or two, pack food on the road. And it's going to take time. It's going to take energy. It's going to be out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to get creative. It's going to be frustrating. Sometimes it's going to be boring. But sometimes those things are all worth it. Okay, number 4. No outer blame, only inner responsibility. This has been a game changer for me, my friends, when it comes to yoga, is stopping blaming other people. And I have a rule with myself, I'm going to share you that rule, is that whenever I find myself in a conversation going down the rabbit hole of explaining myself and then attaching that explanation to blaming somebody else or another situation, I'm deflecting. I don't want to have to deal with whatever it is that I'm dealing with. I would much rather just proof it off on somebody else than actually have to take responsibility for myself. And I hate that mirror. I hate it. It's annoying. It's ugly. It's like, ugh. But I've gotten good enough now where I can catch myself. Sometimes I say it. Sometimes I go into that rabbit hole. I blame other people. I go down the hole of no return of like, oh, poor me, my life is bad, which is not. Okay. If you're on Facebook, life is not that bad. Okay. You have Facebook, my gosh. Okay. You have internet, you have a phone. Like, we can be somewhat grateful. But we're not talking about that right now. So outer blame, inner responsibility. I've caught myself enough now where I catch myself in those moments and I step back, literally step back and go, Hope, what can I learn from this? Why in this moment are you not wanting to deal with that? Lately, I've been stepping into some big business, like big business deals, big business transactions. I feel like a small fish and it's like all new for me. And I find myself like, and then it's like, if I don't know what I'm doing, I'm blaming this or I'm doing that. It's like, Hope, get it together. Get it together, Hope. You know what you're doing. Be honest, move forward, surround yourself with positive people, ask for help. Like, you know what you need to do. So are you somebody, okay? This is the beauty of radio and of internet and Facebook is, I don't have to talk to anyone directly, but I'm talking to myself. And so as a result, I'm talking to you. Are you somebody that needs to turn down the blame dial and turn up the inner responsibility dial? If you are trying to lose weight, if you are trying to exercise more, if you are trying to get more sleep, if you are trying to make new friends, if you are whatever it is, I don't care what it is, make more money, just be happier, be more positive, whatever it is. What can you do today to better influence that for you tomorrow? And if when you look at your current situation and your goals, and you find yourself talking more about how challenging it is because of everybody else, because your situation is so special and so different than anybody else's, but you're not willing to insert any explanation that creates inner responsibility, I want you to ask yourself why. Ask yourself why. One of the answers I figured out in my life some time ago was that I actually didn't want to change. I was scared. I didn't want to change because that meant I had to admit to myself and the people around me that I didn't have it figured out, that I, in fact, was struggling, that I had to get vulnerable and I had to say, help me. And I realize that now in life, that if I want help, I have to ask for it. I can't just assume people know. I just had a coaching session with someone yesterday, and she's trying to make changes in her life. And so we decided to focus on what she could control right now. And that is her physical self, her diet and her movement, exercise, and starting to become more responsible for her situation, that it's all her. There is no reason why she has to be the way she is. And this was her speaking back to me after the conversation, that she openly admitted, and she said, there is no reason why I have to be at this weight, why I'm eating the foods I'm eating. I'm the one that goes grocery shopping. I get up early enough every morning, but I choose not to. I have time in my day, but I choose not to. It is all me. That, my friends, is inner responsibility. Because from that point, you can start to change. Things can shift. You can expect there to be a challenge, but you can expect to see the dial start to tip. And I promise, there is my oath, I promise you, it does get easier, and people and opportunities, programs, whatever it is, will start to pop into your life to support that goal, to support moving in that direction. Now you have to take advantage of them. It's like Mother Trucker Yoga can't help you unless you actually engage with Mother Trucker Yoga, unless you actually do the program, unless you actually get up and move. Otherwise, you're just listening to me on Facebook and on your phone. But that's neither here nor there. Okay, so Robert says the only blame I can blame is myself. And it's not even about blame, Robert. It's not even about blame. It's about taking responsibility. Let's take the blame word out of the vocabulary completely. And instead say, I take responsibility for where my life is right now. And because of that, I can make a positive change. Because blame says, I suck, I'm bad, I might as well go down deeper into the hole. Responsibility says, I've learned, I'm going to grow, I'm going to move forward, I'm going to make it work, I'm going to get up. So I challenge you to change that dialogue. Don't blame, take responsibility, because taking responsibility is a bigger person. You are a bigger person because of it. It is not something easy to do. People would much rather blame. Now you're just blaming yourself. Instead, take responsibility, take ownership. And let's see if we can make that shift for the better, for the good. Without sacrifice, there is no gain. The hardest thing I ever did was ask you for help. And I'm so glad that you did, Robert. I'm so glad that you did. And that's really where it starts. Taking ownership, taking responsibility, asking for help, moving the dial forward. You have control over that dial, my friends. You do in some way, shape, or form. Do not tell me you have no control over your life, because that is a lie. That is a lie. You have some sort of control over your life. You do. Yes, you do. I tell my kids that all the time. Even though I am their legal guardian, I am their parent, at the end of the day, I make a lot of their decisions for them. But there's a big chunk of the day where I'm not with them. At the end of the day, I can't control every word that comes out of their mouth, whether they punch their brother or not. Like, I can't control that all the time, and I shouldn't have to. They have to start taking a responsibility for themselves by setting goals and understanding and engaging with the world on that level. Okay, we're going to be wrapping it up here. Last one, number 5. This is a big one. You ready for it? Action is required. Action is required. I want to stress that this works. Whatever your goal is, wherever you want to go, only works if you take action. And this is why in the 8 limbs of yoga, asana is in there. Asana is action. It's the action step. So we have all this philosophy, and maybe you know someone that's like so philosophical, they're super smart, they like know all this stuff, they have all this insight, but they never apply it. They never engage in real life to actually apply it. And this is why I like yoga so much, because I, for years, have been saying yoga is my incubator for my everyday life. And having taught thousands of people and practiced myself many, many, many hours just of my own practice, what I've realized is that how I engage with myself on the yoga mat, how I engage with the teacher, the people around me, yada, 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 is a mirror image for how I engage in everyday life. So I struggled with addiction for a really long time, and self-harming and all these things. Yoga was the safe house for me to get it together, where I actually practiced how to take better care of myself, how to respect myself, how to listen to my inner self, how to release specific outcomes, all of these things we've been talking about, by how I engaged with the asana, with the yoga practice, with the poses. And it created this safe space for me to do that because there was minimal interference. So I could just work on me. And as a result, I became a better person in society. So if you're still on the struggle bus of taking time for yourself, you know, how can you be a better person to the world if you first aren't being a better person to yourself? If you don't think you're worth it, how is it that you can help somebody else see that for themselves? If you want to support and love your family, support and love yourself first, because there is no way you can help them if there is no you. Before my husband and I got married, I had made it very clear to myself that I did not want to get married. I did not want to have children unless I had my shit together. Not like artificial, not like, oh, everything looks great on the outside, but like I needed to make sure I was on the journey, I was on the road to real recovery, to getting honest with myself, to really becoming the person that I wanted to become. And that was an ugly road, my friends. That was an ugly road. I'm still working on stuff, still now, this day. And my husband and I have been married for, I think, 13 years now. Like, it's not easy, but it's totally possible. So where is it that you need to take action in your life today? How is it that you can take action in your life? You must act to shift your thoughts and your feelings and your behaviors and your choices towards what you wish to become. What's your goal? Where's the inner responsibility? What action is required for you to get there? It's all connected. And I'm talking about this today because I think it needs to be talked about. Because no matter what diet you go on, no matter what exercise routine you take up, if we're not dealing with the stuff on the inside, all the outside stuff is only going to be good and sweet and awesome and fulfilling for so long. It just is. It just is. I have nothing else to say about that except it just is. So I hope today you really start to look at where you are at in life. And I don't want you to leave sad. I don't want you to leave sad, okay? I want you to leave happy and engaged and encouraged, because choose experiences over things. Know the science. We are all energy. It is all an exchange. We are constantly choosing how we share and give and receive energy, okay? It just is. And if it's off balance, you're going to suffer in some way, or somebody else is. Releasing specific outcomes. You have your goals, but how you get there might be a little bit different than what you think is going to happen. Be open to that. And then finally, stop blaming others. Outer blame, no. Inner responsibility, change the language, yes. And then finally, action is required. Action is required. Action is required. The universe has a gift for you. The universe wants to give you something, but you have to take action as well. You can't just sit around and wait. You just can't. And you shouldn't, because you only get one life. And it's a short one, my friends. And I don't want you to wait until your deathbed to go, oh, I wish I would have done more with myself. I wish I would have worked harder to lose that weight so I could have had a more active lifestyle. I wish I would have reached out to my brother and not alienated him for 15 years and punished him for a mistake that we both essentially made. I wish. I don't want you to be there. Take action. Take the higher road. Change the vibration. Change the energy exchange. Change the outcome. Reestablish your goals. These are all things that you can do. These are all things that you can do. And like I said, I only share things with things that I've done myself. I've seen works. I know that works. I'm not just going to give you a line of bullshit, because I don't got time for that. And I know you don't either. Robert says, don't let the small things distract you, because something bad can come out of it. You got it. You got it. And sometimes the small things are just a distraction to deter you. I call them just checking moments. So when all of a sudden I have this goal and I'm on that journey, I just landed a really big partnership. And I literally got an email yesterday, you guys, for like the largest company I've ever like seen for Mother Trucker Yoga. Like I kind of have anxiety right now. It's so big, but that's neither here nor there. And what I'm finding is that I'm ready. I'm on high alert for all these little things to come in and try to distract me away from those goals, because those are things I've been working on for a really long time. So sometimes when we get closer to our goal, there's more distractions. There's more little things to try to pull us away, to try to tempt us. And I want you to know to stay clear, stay focused, continue to move forward. You totally got this. Yes, Robert says it is very short. That comes out of the wrong. Don't let small things distract you, because we can stop the big things from happening. You got it. So That's what I got for you guys. 5 ways that you can practice yoga in your everyday life, that you can take yoga off the mat. Yoga 101. Let me know what you thought about this broadcast. Please share it out with your friends, your fellow drivers, because no matter how hard life gets, you should never lose hope. You should never lose hope that there are opportunities out there for you in life. You should never lose hope that you can do it. You can totally do it. No matter where you are, I believe that you have the ability to be the best person that you can be here. I'm just going to pull something up really quick. Let's see if I can get it. I cannot. All right, we're just going to go with it. I want to thank Davey Crack at TA Petro down in Greenville, Tennessee for being one of our sponsors. Back Shield, thank you so much for everything that you do. If you don't have a back shield, please get one. Go to backshield.com, use the code DDH10, and you can get your back shield today. If you can't remember that code, MTY10 works as well. You can get 10% off, free shipping, amazing back shield. If you don't like it, I will literally buy it from you because it's such an amazing product. I absolutely love them. And Gary over at Back Shield is absolutely fantastic. All right, Jack and Dave's Chrome Shop. Thank you guys. Without Jack and Dave, Chrome and Steel Radio would not be here. Please tune in to all our other amazing shows on Chrome and Steel Radio. We do this all for all of you to listen, to engage, to help pass time on the road. We know how hard it can be driving alone, and we want to make that easier for you. Most important, please share out this broadcast, show some love, show some likes, because then that way the algorithm of Facebook will let other people see these amazing shows and enjoy them as well. All right, guys, until next week, I will see you soon. Visit us over at mothertruckeryoga.com, join our family, and I will see you again next week. Bye now.